It's another episode of Into the Squared Circle podcast. This is your host, GBs, and welcome. This is the post AEW All In 2024 edition of Into the Squared Circle podcast. And here we are, man. Oh, phenomenal show, historic show, a lot of surprises, but right here on the show we'll have my official review and the results of AEW All In 2024, which was live in London, or Wembley, however you want to call it. Wembley Stadium, the iconic Wembley Stadium, and it was a hell of a show. So we will talk about it right here, right now, coming up next. But before I continue, want to follow me on my social media platforms, Into the Squared Circle Podcast, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Yeah, for all the hip kids for TikTok. Join, man. You can see my beautiful faces and other videos featured on here. Also on YouTube. By the way, this whole episode will be featured for free on YouTube, of course. So if you're not familiarized with what we do right here on the podcast, you can hear the full episode right here on YouTube. Get the full experience. Yes, what else? Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Take this podcast to go for your pro wrestling insanity. Take it to go if you're going to work, maybe cut the grass. Whatever you may be doing, all you have to do is type in Into the Square Circle Podcast. Hey, check out my official website, IntoTheSquareCirclePodcast.com. You get my official blogs, you got gallery, you got action figures, and more. So that's right, IntoTheSquareCirclePodcast.com. That's right, you can see the official results right on the website blog section, and my thoughts on Bryan Danielson future. I won't spoil it. I'll talk about the future, and we had a debut. A former WWE superstar made his debut this past Sunday. Who is it? We will talk about it right here on the show, or if you want to take a sneak peek, my official blog section on IntoTheSquareCirclePodcast.com. All right, I'm going to shut up. Let's talk about AEW All In right here, right now, up next, right here at Into the Squared Circle Podcast. Hey, yeah, you. I'm watching you. Stop what you're doing. Well, I mean, if you're on the expressway, just don't stop. But this is a commercial. I fooled you. But did you know that I have a secondary podcast? Did you? It's very simple. If you're a fan of rock, you're a fan of heavy metal, you're a fan of classic rock, yeah, I do have a second podcast. But please, keep it a secret. Do not tell anybody, okay? It's called a Lesson in Headbanging Podcast. That's right. If you love to headbang, you love to go into mosh pits, you love to do crowd surfing, you love to hang out in the front row like I do, it's very simple. Get the hottest ticket in town, the hottest concert of the year, a Lesson in Headbanging Podcast. That's right. If you're a fan of rock and roll, that's right. I will do tour reviews, review upcoming tours in the coming year, like 2024, upcoming albums, my album pick of the week. Man, I'm a fan of rock and roll. And if you're a fan of rock, check it out right now, a Lesson in Headbanging Podcast. Yeah, available on all major podcasting outlets just like this podcast, and available on YouTube as well. A Lesson in Headbanging Podcast. Come on, baby. Join me in the pit, if you dare. Or just hit the follow and hit the like. It's that very simple. A Lesson in Headbanging Podcast, available right now, all part of the GSJ Multimedia Productions. If you need help in podcasting, maybe you need help with commercials, maybe you need help videoing some stuff like a commercial for your business or whatnot, GSJMultimedia.com is the place to be. Let your ideas and vision come to life. All right, man, here we go. AEW All In went down Sunday, August the 25th to London, England, at Wembley Stadium. The final countdown, the tagline, obviously, mainly for Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland. But let's get into it, man. We got a Lots of hot action here, man, when it comes to matches here. So let's talk about the pre-shows really quick here. Tommy Billington, Kip Sabian, Rocky Romero, Cal Fletcher, Leo Rush, and Action Andretti and Top Flight defeated Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, Anthony Gogo, who's nice little country reunion here, Araya Davari, Private Party, and the Dark Order, John Silvers and Alex Reynolds, and Sanjay Dutt, and a massive 16-man tag team match. And get a little appetizer for the crowd. A 50,000 plus crowd at Wembley Stadium. And, nice little entertainment match, of course, in the pre-show. Now let's talk about the pre-show. They had the pre-show desk outside. Oh, you're not outside. You know what I mean. In the crowd, like WWE. Well, I'm wrong. WWE normally have their pre-shows outside of the stadium in the parking lot. AEW had their pre-show panel in the crowd. They had it blocked off, of course, and they had Jeff Jarrett on there, Renee Burkett, and who's the other goofy guy? Well, you know what? They had their pre-show out in the crowd. Pretty cool. Nice angles. They had awesome breakdown throughout the pre-show. You had Lexi Nair backstage. You're there on stage, breaking down each matches, and it was really cool, man. And I love the backstage segments, man. Backstage segments. I love the video packages, of course. What I'm talking about is Renee Burkett had a backstage video package interviewing Brie, the wife of Bryan Danielson, which was pretty good, and nice lot of sit-down video packages and good stuff, man. I'm enjoying the pre-show so far for free on YouTube. So they had a lot of surprises on the pre-show, of course. They announced that AEW is going to be heading over to Australia for Grand Slam February of 2025. So next year, 2025, we're going to have Grand Slam in Australia. So they're going to be doing they're one of those, football stadium, I guess. We'll have to wait and see on that. And we have AEW Forbidden Door coming to London in 2025. I'm not sure if it's a stadium show, maybe an O2 Arena. We'll have to wait and see where's the location will be. But AEW is taking their pay-per-views internationally, and that's pretty big for them in 2025. All right, so let's talk about the next pre-show match. Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii defeated Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway in a mixed tag team match by pinfall. Of course, Stokely Hathaway dressed up all in gold like an Egyptian, and same thing Chris Statlander. And Stokely Hathaway comes out in a pedestal like he is the king. And Tomohiro Ishii and Willow Nightingale, great tag team chemistry, excellent match. And again, Ishii, Willow Nightingale defeated Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway in the mixed tag team match. Great pre-show match. Pre-show number 3, of course, and the last match of the pre-show. So we have the Von Erichs, Marshall Von Erich and Ross Von Erich. Ethan Rhodes defeated the Undisputed Kingdom Cage of Agony by pinfall. So a great final pre-show match for AEW 0 hour pre-show on YouTube. And I kind of thought about it when I watched Dustin Rhodes in his pre-show match. You know, I was like, how awesome it is you get the crossroads. Yes, Cody Rhodes uses that as his finishing move, and yes, he used it to defeat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania night number 2. But yet Dustin, his older brother, used it at Wembley Stadium. So it's pretty cool to see the crossroads being used at the major platforms and the major wrestling companies around the world. So pretty cool. All right, pay-per-view kicks off. Pac, Blackpool Combat Club, defeated the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Killswitch, Nick Wayne, who were the champions, who came down as the world's AEW Tag Team Trios champions. And also in the match was the Bang Bang Gang, Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn versus the House of Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black. And which was pretty cool is they had the entrances for each team on the pre-show. They give you the preview right on YouTube for free so you can check out their entrances. But the pay-per-view kicks off with the match right off the bat. Ding, ding, ding. And, man, these guys went to war, man. There's bodies going through tables. There's short ladders, medium ladders, long ladders. Impressive, man, throughout the match. And each team had a great chemistry, different uniques, of course, and I enjoyed it. But long story short, there was a spot where Kill Switch was carrying Christian Cage up the ladder, carrying him. Hopefully give him advantage to collect the belts hanging above the ring, but no, he fell short. Long story short, Pac, Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta captured the titles and winning and becoming the new AEW World's Trio Championship. How about that? Excellent match and a huge weekend for Claudio Castagnoli, by the way, if you knew or not. Claudio Castagnoli flew over to Mexico this past Friday, so he was in Cardiff, Wales Wednesday for AEW Dynamite. Hop on a plane, flew to Mexico to do the CMLL Grand Prix tournament. He won the tournament, took the trophy with him, hopped on the plane, and flew back to England to wrestle at Wembley Stadium. And he brought the trophy with him, which was great. And yet better, he won the World's Trios Championship with Pac and Wheeler Yuta. So a big weekend for Claudio Castagnoli, man. Yeah, that's awesome for being a wrestling fan. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's move on next here. Mariah May defeated Timeless Toni Storm. How about that? Man, what a match. It was a brutal match. And, yes, Luther was there on Timeless Toni Storm's side as I predicted. And Mira Kasasawa, yes, the best friend for both ladies, she was there as well. But she was in the crowd watching from the seats. So, I guess I'm partially right on this. What I talked about in my previous prediction. Great match, man. My favorite spot where Toni Storm pile drive Mariah May on a steel steps outside of the ring. And that's where Mariah May was juicing, right? Busted, bleeding over their face. And how about this, man? You know when superstars are on the big platforms like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, AEW All In, you typically invite your parents to sit in the front row, like your mom or your dad, your grandparents, your brothers and sisters. And Mariah May brought her mom sitting in the front row to watch her daughter face Timeless Toni Storm for the AEW World's Women's Championship. You'd think she'd be ecstatic about it. She would be happy. She'd be taking pictures. But instead, the daughter, Mariah May, came down ringside and slapped her own mom. How dare her slap her own mom, who's sitting at ringside for her support. And, man, Timeless Toni Storm didn't like it. But, yeah, she came over there and she hugged her and she said, you know what? I'm going to take out your own daughter. I mean, come on, man. Just a brilliant, eviscerate her in the ring, of course. But, long story short, Mariah May, yeah, she managed to turn his match around, pick up a win, and defeated Timeless Toni Storm. I didn't see this coming. I was hoping Timeless Toni Storm will retain the title, but no, Mariah May defeated her by pinning her 1, 2, 3 for the win. And now your new AEW World Women's Champion, the new winner, the new champion, Mariah May, defeated Timeless Storm. Congrats to Mariah May, and man, what a big win for her in the great country of the UK. So pretty cool. Up next, we have Hook. We'll go face-to-face against Chris Jericho. By the way, this will be a last chance match for the FTW Championship. I guess there's no rules in this match, as I predicted. And, of course, Chris Jericho came out with Fozzy, his great rock and roll band, Fozzy, came out singing the new song, which is #1 in radio rock right now, The Learning Tree, Chris Jericho. You had man, who was in this band? Fozzy, the guitarist from Stuck Mojo, Rich Ward, great guy, man. Rich Ward hitting the riffs on the guitar. You had the drummer and I believe PJ Farley in the band as well. I know I'm a nerd. A rock and roll nerd. Check out my secondary podcast, the Lesson Head Making Podcast, if you're a fan of rock and heavy metal. And yes, man, Fozzy and Jericho. Okay, let's talk about singing here really quick. And you know what? I'm not sure if it's a bad audio through the microphone. I don't know, man. But I'll let you guys decide on Chris Jericho singing live at the Wembley Stadium, just like last year. So Jericho came out, and out comes Hook. And Hook is walking backstage, giving you that WWE camera shot, walking backstage, walking up the ramp, going into the gorilla position. But my favorite part of his entrance, they played the intro of Taz. The heartbeat and the hospital, we call those like beep, 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 like the heart rate. Taz came out with that. And that's pretty cool. They slapped that in the intro for Hook and before his music played. And really cool, man. The match, pretty solid. 10 minutes and 15-second match. And these guys went to war, man. And, of course, they had, I believe it was FTW Rules, last chance match. Of course, you have weapons in the ring. I believe there was pull biller balls in the ring. And but my favorite part is, of course, Big Bill got involved in the match, who's with Chris Jericho. Of course, the Deadwood Brian Keith got involved in the match. There was a spot in the match where it was a 3-on-1, a beatdown handicap ready now. And next thing you know, Taz put the headset down, who was part of the color commentary team, came around, gave Brian Keith a full Nelson, or what's Taz's finishing move? Well, anyway, he put Brian Keith in a full Nelson and took him out, which was pretty cool. And it distract Chris Jericho, and Hook put a submission on Chris Jericho, made him tap, and Hook is your new FTW champion. So how about that? Thanks to Pops, Taz, helping him out. I guess you could help him out by distracting Chris Jericho, and Hook defeated Jericho, winning back the FTW Championship. Congrats to Hook. Hurry up next, the Young Bucks will go one-on-one against FTR. By the way, the Young Bucks will put their AEW World Tag Team Championship line in a three-way match, as I mentioned, against FTR versus the Acclaim, Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. Excellent match, of course. Man, the Young Bucks came out like Sergeant Pepper in their ring attire. Yeah, FTR in a tracksuits, which had a big pop. A fan favorites, of course, wearing the Bret Hart style ring attire. By the way, CM Punk was wearing Bret Hart ring attire at SummerSlam, and obviously CM Punk is good friends with FTR, and FTR paying homage to Bret Hart at Wembley Stadium. The Acclaim came out and had a big pop, and of course, what a way to tell the 50,000. That was great, man. Max Caster's rap, man, phenomenal. Great match, man. Great chemistry for all the teams, and a lot of good stuff in there, man. My favorite part in this match where Max Caster gets in the ring, and you had one of the Young Bucks tapping Max Caster, and he's like, hey, man, yeah, I don't know where's your tag team partner, but do the BTE trigger with me, and he did it. And he got all wobbly and unconscious, and he got in the spot where he was with I think he did a Big Rig or Shatter Machine with Cash or Dax, and he realized, like, oh, shoot, I did a finishing move with the Young Bucks, and I did the finishing move with FTR, and it was great, man. It was very entertaining. By the way, 12 minutes and 5 seconds in the match, and great tag team, but the Young Bucks managed to slip out and retain the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Of course, after the match, you had the what's their name? The Grizzly Young Veterans or something like that. They came in the ring. and they confronted the Young Bucks. They had a stare down. But after that, they attack FTR, and then the Young Bucks scrambled. So they're teasing something here. The grizzled young veterans, or whatever their name is, may have a hot date for the AEW World Tag Team Champions in the near future with the Young Bucks. So we have to wait and see on that. All right, let's move on next here. The Casino Gauntlet match for the future World Championship match. Of course, a contract match. And I guess once you win this contract match, you have your opportunity, a shot to face the AEW World Championship anytime, any place. There we go. So let's talk about the Gauntlet match here. And here's the entrance for the Casino Gauntlet match. Number 1, we had Orange Cassidy to kick it off. Number 2, Kuchika Okada. So we got two guys squaring off in the ring. Had a great little one-on-one. Number 3, this one surprised me. Nigel McGuinness. Yeah, I'm talking about the color commentator from AEW Collision. Nigel McGuinness. He hasn't wrestled in years. I'm talking about years, and I don't know if he decided he doesn't want to wrestle no more. Does he has a health condition? We don't know what the reason behind him not wrestling, but he looks great, and what a massive pop from the Wembley crowd. And he looks great, man, despite him sitting behind the desk doing color commentary, right? Man, he looks great. His physiques, he looks great in the ring, man. He still got his chops. He hasn't lost anything. So that was pretty cool. Up next, Kyle O'Reilly. Entrance number 4. Number 5, this one right here got a big pop. UK's very own and the G1 New Japan Pro Wrestling Tournament winner, Zack Sabre Jr. Number 5, man. That was awesome. Tony Khan managed to get Zack Sabre Jr. So far, so good, man. You got some UK representative inside of the Wembley Stadium in this match, and it was really cool, man. It gave me a Ring of Honor flashbacks, a Ring of Honor vibe. Nigel McGuinness, Kyle O'Reilly, Zack Sabre Jr. You had different generations of England, the great country of England in the match. That was really cool. Englishman. Number 6, Roderick Strong. Number 7, Mark Briscoe. So you have Ring of Honor represent him strong in this match. Number 8, Adam Hangman Page. Number 9, The Last Outlaw, Jeff Jarrett, who had a massive pop. Number 10, the big surprise, the big rumor that's been going around, which we've been talking about last episode. Yes, number 10, the new addition to the AEW roster who signed a multi-year contract. I'm talking about Ricochet. Made his debut at the Casino Gauntlet match. And man, he was no short but impressive. He got in the ring and he did what Ricochet did best. And the last time we saw him in the WWE ring, of course, just impressive, man. Got in the ring and just took out everybody doing his high-flying flips moves. He was welcome. He was welcome into AEW. And man, I am excited for Ricochet, what he could do next, man. Ricochet, Ospreay, Ricochet, and Swerve Strickland. Man, there's a lot of stuff you could do with him. And yeah, hey, I did a blog on Ricochet on my official Into the Square Circle podcast.com on, talking about Ricochet's debut and who his future potential opponents could be in the future. So go check it out right now, live on my official Into the Square Circle podcast blog section. All right, number 10 was Ricochet. Number 11, Christian Cage, who was also in the pay-per-view earlier in the match. And he decided to hop on in this match, the Casino Gauntlet match. Number 11, Christian Cage. And of course, number 12, fooled everybody, of course, in this Gauntlet match. Luchasaurus. People thought Luchasaurus was back. People thought he was going to turn on Christian Cage, but no. He came in the ring and he helped Christian Cage. So I guess he's back to being kill switch, I guess. Man, what a screwy finish to the match. I was not happy about it. I'm like, really? Really? This is how they end the match? Christian Cage wins the gauntlet match from a little bit of help from Kill Switch. So I guess Christian Cage has a hot date anytime, any place in the near future for a AEW World Championship match. All right, up next, Will Ospreay versus MJF, 25 minutes and 50-second match for the AEW International Championship. Will Ospreay had a very cool entrance based off Assassin's Creed, his gear. Oh, man, the camera shots, pyro, that pyro on the ceiling of the Wembley Stadium. Really cool, man. They have like karate guys doing some karate moves on stage. Oh, man. And of course, 50,000 plus going wild for Will Ospreay, the countryman, the fellow Englishman. Man, that was really cool. I enjoyed it. Oh, man, that was so awesome. A historic moment for Will Ospreay. Out comes MJF. Man, he is like Lex Luger, man, the Lex Express. He was Uncle Sam. He was Apollo Creed. He was USA to the gill. Man, he had like chicks in short skirts or short shorts where carrying American flags, and he was full of patriotic, man. He was going Hulkamaniac at All In. Will MJF, my apologies, they're not correct there. MJF came out and had the big American flag with his face featured in the stars and the flag, of course. And, man, he had pyro around the ring, and man, 50,000 people booing at him. It was just great. And, man, great match. Great one-on-one match. Great chemistry. These guys told a story. These guys went to war. They went to war. And, MJF was like, you want me to see me do flips? You want me to do it? Will Ospreay, watch me do it. He does like a tope or a moonsault off the ring, outside of the ring, and he failed at it. And, man, it was a great match. I can't tell you how many Oz cutters Will Ospreay did to MJF in the ring, kick out. He did it on the apron of the ring, kick out. There was a spot in the match. Where Ospreay was ready to do a sling blade. He was doing something to MJF outside of the ring. Ospreay was ready to attempt to do it, but he took out the cameraman instead. And how often do you get a cameraman get taken out in a match? So you got the cameraman getting taken out. So the referee was distracted, checking out the cameraman. So now MJF has free range. He has the title in his hand. He's trying to find a way to cheat. But no. Ospreay managed. He managed to turn it around. And, pinned him. 1, 2, the referee got in the ring, kick out. Like, no! We thought which was the cameraman who had a face mask on, hopped on the ring apron. He took the face mask off, and it was Daniel Garcia. You remember him? The last pay-per-view, MJF screwed him over. Well, Daniel Garcia came back for revenge. He stared at MJF eye to eye, deep down his soul. And that's where Ospreay took him out, gave him the Tiger Driver, pinned him. 1, 2, 3. As predicted, in a historic, memorable match, Will Ospreay defeated MJF by pinfall for the AEW International Championship. What a moment. What a moment at Wembley Stadium. He had green pyro blowing off the colors of Will Ospreay above the Wembley Stadium, and a great camera shot. And what a moment. What a moment for Will Ospreay. Winning and the International Champion by defeating MJF with a little bit of help of returning Daniel Garcia. Great story. Great match. All right, up next, Mercedes Moné versus Dr. Britt Baker for the AEW TBS Championship. So out comes Dr. Britt Baker, massive crowd going for her feet. And out comes Mercedes Moné, who arrived in a horse and carriage ride, like a fancy London style, arriving in the Queen's, little horse cart. And the corgi dogs in there, and they had the London soldiers with their hat on and their red coat, opening the door, and out comes Mercedes Moné. She is a star with the AEW TBS Championship. But an excellent match between Mercedes Moné and Dr. Britt Baker. They went to war. One-on-one, female versus female. Can't say mano y mano. But 17 minutes and 25-second match. And, man, this was fantastic. A lot of people said it was an awkward finish, of course. Of course, you had a Camille trying to get involved. And eventually, Dr. Britt Baker did the Eddie Guerrero style where Camille had the championship belt in her hand. The ref had his back turned, so Britt Baker decided to play possum, right? Laid on the ground as the referee turned around, and he thought that Camille hit her with the title belt. Eddie Guerrero style. Lie, and cheat, and steal. And that's where the referee injected Camille from ringside. So, long story short, man, this one I kind of had a little feeling that Mercedes Moné, yeah, she managed to sneak away by pinning Dr. Britt Baker 1, 2, 3 for the win. And Mercedes Moné, yeah, she retained the AEW World TBS Championship. All right, up next, Jack Perry will put his AEW TNT Championship on the line against Darby Allin in a coffin match. So they made it very clear in the pre-show at All In that Darby Allin never lost a coffin match. They made a very little statistic here, and this is his style of a match, but let's talk about it. So Darby Allin came out as his entrance, and Darby Allin had thumbtacks all over his face, like legitly push pins. It's like insane. And then out comes Jack Perry with a body bag coming down the ring with a scapegoat mask on. And here we go, baby. Man, Darby Allin, he shot out of the ring like he did a tope like a cannonball. And apparently he missed and crashed into a coffin, an empty coffin that was at the ringside. Of course, they have flowers and a picture in memory of Jack Perry on one side. The other side is said in memory of Darby Allin. It's like a poor funeral in Wembley Stadium. Man, these guys went to war. These guys were brutal. These guys had everything but the kitchen sink. And, of course, Jack Perry brought up a bag of glass, right? Talk about controversy a year ago. He brought out a glass of bags, and of course you have 50,000 people chanting, "Cry me a river." So we had that spot in the ring. What else happened, man? There was another spot where Jack Perry tied Darby Allin's hands together with tape, and he carried him up the ramp. And by the way, the AEW stage is pretty big for a stadium show, which is mean a heck of a lot taller than it normally is for television shows. So it had a couple feet, man. And Jack Perry decided to toss Darby Allin off the stage through tables. Insane. Eventually, both guys managed to get back in the ring, of course. And yeah, man. This match was very short. I was a little surprised here. No interference, of course. But look, man, long story short, this match was 10 minutes. I just looked at it now. It was 10 minutes. That's all it was. And it was very simple. Jack Perry threw in Darby Allin into the coffin, closed it, and won the match. I'm like, are you serious? And Jack Perry retained the TNT title. I'm like, come on, man. So out comes the Young Bucks, and they had a gasoline can. And of course, they poured it. It looked like they dumped coffee in the gasoline can because it was like super dark. So I don't know what kind of gasoline they're using in the UK. Maybe mud from the canal. I don't know. But it was very dark, watery. So they ended up putting this allegedly gasoline inside of the coffin. They closed the doors and they put the gasoline on top of the coffin. And I guess they were going to light the coffin on fire with Darby Allin. And the lights go out. And you hear Metallica, Seek and Destroy. By the way, I heard that song live when they came to Soldier Field for Metallica No Repeat Weekend. Hell of a weekend. But Metallica, Seek and Destroy, coming off the Kill 'Em All album. You hear that song played, and the fans lost their minds. Out comes Sting! The icon Sting came out to save Darby Allin. And the Young Bucks and Jack Perry got in the ring, waiting for Sting to come in the ring. Sting comes in the ring and starts taking everybody out. One of the Young Bucks hits Sting in the back with a chair, but nah. You woken the beast. Sting turned around, gave a double Scorpion Deathlock to the Young Bucks, and rescued Darby Allin. So nice little ending despite Jack Perry retaining the TNT Championship, but good to see Sting coming back to Wembley Stadium to save Darby Allin. Here we go. It's main event time. Title versus career. Bryan Danielson versus Swerve Strickland. Of course, Bryan Danielson coming out with, the most iconic song in the rock and roll history. Little old classic rock band we all know called Europe. Not the country Europe. I'm talking about the band called Europe, and phenomenal song. The Final Countdown. Yes, they brought back the Final Countdown, the theme song for Bryan Danielson, and they got the crowd pumped up, singing. What a moment. Oh, man, that was awesome. I had chills going down my spine and arms. The fan, 50,000 plus singing the Final Countdown of Bryan Danielson. Will this be his final match in his career? Or could he walk away, become the new AEW World Championship? So, Danielson come out. Here we go. Up on stage, we had a DJ table on stage, and we had a hype man, I guess when you call it, if it comes to hip-hop acts. And he's like, whose house? And I believe the rapper's name was DJ Woo or Woo Kid. I guess whoever sang with Swerve in this entrance theme song came out. Pretty cool. A live song of this entrance, and really cool, man. Got the crowd hype up. We had Prince Nana doing the Swerve dance from top to bottom in the entrance, which was pretty awesome, man. He got the whole 50,000 people doing the Swerve dance. And, man, a big time feel match. This feels like a main event match. And guess what, man? These guys went to war. Of course, Danielson was the first person to get busted, of course, over this face. And, yeah, man, Danielson's family was sitting at ringside. He had Bree, his wife. He had his two children.